more Datamine stuff. That's right, big snap for some more Datamine content. This time we're taking a look at locations, which in my opinion is just as exciting as new cards. These have a huge impact in your games in Marvel Snap. And guys, I have some at the end that I am pretty confident. I'm going to go with a 95% level of confidence, which if you watch my gameplay betrays me often. But I am super confident that these are going to join the game soon. I think as soon as next week. We'll see. But just like I do with the cards, we're actually going to give these locations ratings, which is a little bit weird because it's a mutual effect between you and your opponent. So how could I really rate something that you can't actually collect? Well, I got it right here. And basically it's just on how I feel about the location when it reveals. Am I excited about it or am I disappointed? And really, I got the factors laid out there, but really the example is a subterranean. It doesn't feel good. All of a sudden I've got rocks in my deck. They ruin my game plan. They're not what I wanted to play. It's random because I don't know when I'm going to draw them. Not very interactive, so I'm disappointed. Sinister London, on the other hand, is exciting because all of a sudden there's some crazy combos. The entire game is completely changed. It writes a story. It's something that I'll take a screenshot and share with my friends because a crazy event happened off of Sinister London. Now this is completely subjective. This is my own personal experiences and preferences. If you really like Subterranea, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I'm really glad that there's some locations that some people like and some people don't like. And it's all different because it's random and there's only 3 locations that show in a game out of like 70 locations. And growing, they're going to come out with 1 every week. It's crazy. The first one we got up here is Asteroid M. First of all, the artwork, fantastic. I can see this animated with the boosters going. Maybe the Earth or whatever planet that is spinning. Oh my goodness, that'd be good. But I'm giving this one 4 stars. It's when you play a 3 or 4 cost card, move it here. The best part about this location is that it's going to be revealed by the time that you can actually play a 3 or 4 cost card, right? Because on turn 1, the first location reveals. Turn 2, the second. And turn 3, the third, before you play your cards, right? So if you're playing on curve and you decide to play a 3-drop at a different location, Asteroid M showed up and it's like, nope, you're going to gravitate that card. It's going to pull it over and you're going to have to readjust your strategy because of it. If I got Vulture, we're winning because that's +5 without me even having to do a follow-up or combo. And I think that's the only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is because it benefits move decks a little bit too much. And I don't always love when one location benefits a certain deck archetype, because it feels a little unfair if I brought that to the table and my opponent didn't. So, but I really, really like this location. It's going to affect you for the rest of the game because even in turn 6, let's say you want to play 2-3 cost cards, you're super limited because they're going to get pulled by Asteroid M. And then even better, if I have Kingpin and my opponent plays it at 3 costs and it gets pulled over, it gets destroyed. Like there will be some crazy moments because of this location. I think it has a huge impact on the game for the rest of the game anyways. So I really like it and it looks great. So it gets 4 stars. But Bar Sinister is the nuttiest location. And I think this one is on its way. I could see this dropping in the game in the next month. Bar Sinister is when you play a card here, fill this location with copies of. That is so nuts, guys. There's 1,000 combos. You look at pretty well any card in Marvel Snap, and you could combo it with this. I'm talking dropping Infinite on 6 and you get 80 power, finding a way to buff your Iron Man, and then dropping that here with 4 Iron Mans. Heck, even playing Sunspot on turn 1 at this location and passing the rest of the game is going to get you some crazy totals. The list goes on. There's so many combinations with Bar Sinister, and there's no randomness because you choose what card's going to be played there, and you get 4 copies of it. That's unreal. I love that. I think maybe some strategies of playing goblins there. Imagine playing Green Goblin here before your opponent has played a card at Bar Sinister, and you give them 4 goblins, and you could still play a card there and copy that 3 times over. Like, wow, like it's such a good location. It'd make for some hilarious moments. Super fun, plays to your deck strategy. I love it. I love it. 5 stars, easy. Okay, next we have Crystal Towers. Don't love this one because it's not very original. We already have this same effect on Crystal, which is a collectible card, except she has the constraint of only being able to be played in the middle location to get her benefit. So the ability is shuffle your hand into your deck, draw 3 cards. Now the nice thing is this is mutual, so it's going to happen to your opponent just like it's going to happen to you. So even if you drew the nuts and they might not have, you don't know that, so they got to redraw, you got to redraw, it's a mulligan. It's just a refresh, right, on your hand. Now if this was the third location revealed and you had a flood deck and you already played a bunch of cards, Let's say you only had 2 cards left in your hand by this point. Well, you're actually going to benefit by getting an extra card, an extra draw. So I guess maybe that's a benefit, but I think for the most part, this is not going to do much. It's going to be a little bit frustrating because it's just going to happen. It happens instantly on reveal. And again, it's on a card already, so I don't love it. I wouldn't want to see this one join the game. The art looks like temp art, so I'm going to go with it's not actually going to happen. Maybe it was testing for Crystal. Who knows? Okay, and then we have Counter Earth. So if I give Bar Sinister, which makes 3 copies of a card that you play at a location, then I have to give Counter Earth 5 stars. It's doing the same thing pretty much. It's going to create a copy at a location. So when you play a card here, create a copy at this location, which means you're looking at 2 card combos because you're going to play a card, it's going to have 2, and then you can play another card, you got 2. So I don't know, the list goes on. I feel like Onslaught would be really nuts, getting 2 Onslaughts here with like Patriot and crazy buffs like that, but I'm sure there's so much more. It's hard, honestly. It's hard to think of all the crazy amount of combinations. Let me know one in the comments below. I'd like to hear it. But easy 5 stars. The art is awesome. I like this comic style, but I think we've seen a few like this, and it was temp art, and it ended up getting replaced, or the location got its effect changed. I want this one to be in the game, but I could easily see this one getting scrapped because you already have London Sinister, then you have Bar Sinister, and then you would have Counter Earth. Like, I don't know, they all do different things. They're all very different, but they have similar effects. It might feel a little too samey for the game, or they hold on to this one and wait like another year to release it, and then it's just exciting because there's a big collection, there's lots of locations. Maybe they do a rotation of locations, and this one comes in place of Sinister London. That'd be cool, something like that. All right, let's move on to Deep Space. So Deep Space is already in the game. It's called Nowhere. Its on-reveal abilities won't happen at this location. But this art was on the Datamine website, so I thought, well, I don't know, maybe this could be something. Maybe it was in the game. Maybe they're using it as temp art to test things. That's a possibility. But maybe it's a future location, and the ability just got swapped. Because they've been doing this recently where they changed the abilities of locations, essentially just changing the art and the name, but they're shuffling it around for thematic purposes. So maybe Deep Space was originally Nowhere, but Nowhere became Deep Space, and now they're saving Deep Space for something else. So I want to hear it. What do you think Deep Space will be in the comments below? Let me know a cool ability for this artwork. I was thinking that one that would be cool is that it would play the bottom card of your deck at the end of the game. So kind of reaching into deep space, taking that card and playing it there. That could be cool. A little bit of randomness. No, I don't know if I'd actually love the ability, but it's thematically on point. Okay, and then we have Genosha. So you can move cards to this location. I'm giving this 3 stars. I think the art looks cool. It'll be a really cool looking location, even though it kind of gives that Tempe vibe. But the reason I'm giving it 3 is, again, this really benefits move decks more than anything. But I do like the fact that if you played something somewhere, you don't love the situation at that location, it's not a dead card because you can now move it to Genosha. Now the important note here is that you can't move it off of Genosha. So once you've placed it there, you're pretty much locked in. It's kind of like New York. You can play cards, you can move cards there on turn 6. This is just, you can move cards here anytime. So it's pretty cool, but it's not very original, and it benefits move a little bit too much, so I'm just kind of like, meh. All right, these next 2 are the ones I was talking about that I'm pretty confident are going to be in the game by release. That's what I will tell you. By release, these will be in the game, and let's get into it. So we got the Daily Bugle. So this is get a copy of a card in your opponent's hand. Thematically, on point. I love it because it's like the Spider-Man newspaper thing that they were using to chase him around. It's great. You get information on your opponent's hand and you get their card. But honestly, I find it underwhelming because you probably don't care for that card. And then after that has happened, this location is dead. And while I do believe information is very, very important to know what you're up against, this is mutual information. So I don't know if it's going to really give you that step up. What if your opponent just discovered like your secret sauce of your deck and you just like got their 1 cost or their 2 cost or something? Like there's a bit of variance there. And even if you both figured out what you're doing, right? Then there's no advantage. We're still at neutral, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not a very exciting thing. Maybe it can make some crazy moments. You get to beat your opponent with a card that you stole via Daily Bugle, or copied rather, it's not steal. Steel might have been cooler. But it's pretty neat. It's very thematic. It's very Marvel. It's very important to the universe. So I want to see this in the game. The reason I'm saying it's coming up is because it's been all over the trailers. Go check out the trailer. It's in there like 2 or 3 times. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see this soon. All right, and last but not least, we have the Nexus. So I want to give a quick shout out to IceCap. He's in the Berryverse Discord, and he posted a screenshot of him playing a game where the Nexus showed up. It was literally in his game. I think it was supposed to be the featured location before this patch drop, but all kinds of bugs happened, and I think they pulled the plug on it. So they either removed it, patched over it, or I don't know what happened, but it was in the game. It had slightly different art. The one I'm showing you here is a zoomed out version. I think this is guaranteed. This is just guaranteed to be in the game. And it's a cool effect. Your power here is granted to other locations as well. So if you look back on my Datamine videos, there's a card called the Living Tribunal, and it has this effect essentially. At the end of the game, it splits all of your power to evenly across all the locations, which isn't really the same as the Nexus because you could go to like 2,000 power here and then you're gonna get 2,000 at each location. So it's even nuttier, but there's still that similarity. And I think this is crazy. It benefits those decks that go tall. So like, think about this, guys. We have, in Marvel Snap, there's a really real thing of tall versus wide deck. Wide, you kind of want to just win every location with not crazy power totals, but really put the pressure on your opponent to figure out how they're going to win that second location, okay? Tall is when you really just stack one location, absolutely give your opponent no hope of winning it, and then you sneak out a win by stealing another one via like Professor X early on, or just something, Storm even. There's a bunch of ways, right? Or like Omega Reg Onslaught combo ends up doing that. And think about that combo at this location. That's absolutely absurd. It's not that hard. It seems hard, but it's not that hard to get 100 power at a location if you build the right deck for it. So if this was the featured location and we're building some nutty decks, I think you're gonna see a lot of games of like 100, 100, 100 power just from the Nexus alone. But there's some counters out there. There's like ongoing, like Enchantress stopping ongoing effects, Shang-Chi destroying things. Like you destroy something at the Nexus, you're taking a lot of power away from your opponent. So anyway, this is just such a cool location. The artwork looks great. I hope they go with the full art rather than the one that we saw in IceCap's game, but we'll see. But there you go. There's 8 locations that are Datamine at least, and a few that I really think are going to come to the game soon. So guys, join the Berryverse Discord. The link is in the description below. A bunch of people are joining. We're having a great time helping each other out with all kinds of tips and tricks. It's been a really great time. I appreciate everyone that's been there and growing this community. But most of all, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I will catch you guys next time.